I was a weird kid for the most part. I was never scared of the dark, I loved thunderstorms, and I wasn't scared of a lot of things after a certain point. Hey guys, I'm Jay, and today we'll be talking about the things I was scared of as a child. Alright, we're gonna go chronologically here. First up, when I was really young, I was afraid of kukuis. For those of you that don't know, a kukui, kuka, or kuku is pretty much the equivalent of the boogeyman. I never knew what it was or what they looked like when I was younger because I just remember my grandma always saying, "Be careful or the kukuis will get you." I was like 6 at the time, barely a foot taller than the kitchen table. Since she never explained what they were, I just assumed that they were monsters. I always thought that they were in the kitchen at night, so I avoided going there. I think that I pictured it like this. But since I never knew much about them, I wasn't scared of them for long. Next thing that I remember being really scared of was the blob that ate everyone. So, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys watched or read Goosebumps. It's great, but like, the blob that ate everyone fucked me up, man. I was maybe 8 when I had this fear. I remember watching the episode and being scared because it was a monster. And when I say that, I mean that it's mindless and can't be stopped or reasoned with. I remember when I'd have nightmares, that thing would show up eventually. When I'm in a dream, I can usually tell when the dream is going to take a turn for the worse. The dream I remember the most was where I was at a playground at school. I remember getting the feeling like something was coming. So I did that thing in dreams where you're able to jump high enough, and if you flap your arms hard enough, you'd stay in the air. I was literally hanging for dear life at the top of a pole while the blob just wreaked havoc on ground level. So I avoided watching that episode. But I happened to watch a lot of Goosebumps at the time, and I got a DVD for Christmas. The blob that ate everyone happened to be on the cover. I thanked whoever gave me the DVD and proceeded to never watch it. Like, look at this! I always tried to stop thinking about it and just block it from my memory, but whenever I'd see that DVD cover when I'd look for a movie, it just reminded me of it. I had to like toss this to the back of the top of the closet so I wouldn't see it. It stayed there for a while. At least a year, I think. A few other fears I had were some creatures from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Now, everyone knows that that show is a little fucked up. The first one that I remember being scared of was King Ramses. The way it moved and the way it was animated just freaked me out. Plus, he was a ghost. I was pretty scared of things that couldn't be killed. The second Courage the Cowardly Dog fear was this fucking thing.
You're not perfect.
I think I watched this when I was 8, and this is the only fear I remember having that made me cry. I watched this episode, and when the clip came on, I felt my heart drop, and then I cried and ran out the room, closing the door behind me. Next thing I remember being scared of was a couple creepypastas. The first one I remember was the Rake. I think for that one, the looks contributed to its scariness factor. And fuck, man, I don't want the Rake sitting at the foot of my bed. Hell, who does? I always used to block the area on the top of our closet with pencils so it wouldn't open, so the Rake wouldn't have anywhere to pop out of. Because in me and my brother's old room, at the top of the closet were all these cabinets, and they never closed all the way. And I even think one time it started to open by itself, so that on its own creeped me out. If that thing was open, it was hard to sleep, and the space back there was big enough to fit the Rake if he was really determined. So I'd put pens between the handles and hoped it stayed that way. Another creepypasta I was scared of was I'm a 911 operator. That one, if you've never heard of it, it's basically a call between a 911 operator and some guy who's calling about this guy on his front lawn. What happens is that he thinks that the guy on his lawn is drunk at first because he's just describing odd behavior that he's showing. He asks the operator to send someone to check it out. After a few minutes, he's told to go check if his doors are all locked. When he looks back to the guy, he's pressed up against his window. He's not taking his eyes off him. The operator asks if he's alone. This is what happens.
Absolutely positive you are alone in your house, correct? Yes, I'm alone in the house. Wait a minute. He's moving. He's shaking his head. He's telling me no. He can hear us. He's telling me to move! Sir? Sir, are you still there? Sir, I heard a loud noise. Is everything alright? Sir?
This is why I never check what's going on outside when I hear a noise. So yeah, that one scared me. And it still kind of does to this day, especially since I keep my window open for my fan. What would scare the shit out of me is if I saw someone in my backyard at night. Like, I mean, it's bad enough that the motion sensor light outside my window goes off by itself at night, but if I see someone there, I'm going to cry. Literally the other night, I was so paranoid about that I got out of my bed at 1 in the morning and locked my bedroom door, and I never lock my door. Now, here's something that didn't used to freak me out that kind of freaks me out today. Remember that episode of SpongeBob where he has to catch all the jellyfish from Mr. Krabs? Here's the part that scares me a bit. Late at night, when he's walking home, he's getting the feeling of being followed, and he ends up running home. Then, he gets a phone call where it's nothing but the sound of breathing. Then his power goes out, and he sees that the front door opens and something walks into his kitchen. Like, I never realized how creepy this shit is until I rewatched that episode recently. As a kid, I just thought it was funny, but now I know that's like a setup where someone can get murdered. Jeez. Fuck, man. Okay, so I want to say that when I was around 12, I stopped being scared of things from movies or TV shows because I developed this mindset. I can either befriend the monster so it'll be on my side, or I'll eat it to gain its powers. Like, I legit thought, eat or be eaten. I was 100% prepared to chomp down on a werewolf in self-defense if need be. Unfortunately, this mindset only works with the paranormal. I'd say with all the horror movies / real life events that I've heard about, I'd say that I'm more scared of people than monsters or ghosts. I'm more likely to be brutally murdered by some psychopath than a ghost. Let's be real here. Alright, well, that's the end of this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all weebs later. Janet!